Hey ladies, today is Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, and I am 6 weeks postpartum. Um it's funny. I was just thinking how I did all these videos when I was like I was X number of days pregnant or X number of weeks pregnant. Um so now I'm talking about how far I am postpartum. So I just wanted to come on here and give you a quick update. But before I do, I want to say, congratulations, glasses sliding down, sorry. Congratulations to all the new mommies out there. I know that several of my YouTube sisters have had their babies in the last couple of weeks. So just want to say congrats. I know we have two little boys and another little girl out there. So just congrats and, hang in there because I know these first few weeks are hard as I am still in the first few weeks, but just a couple of weeks ahead of you guys. Um, so I had my postpartum visit on Tuesday. Yeah, and today's Thursday. Like the days are just all one long day. It doesn't really matter for me much anymore because every day is the same. And I can't seem to get my glasses right. I can't get my life together. Everything is like these glasses right now. But anyway, so yeah, I had my postpartum visit. I did not have a C-section. I had vaginal, so mine was at 6 weeks. So I had my 6 week postpartum visit on Tuesday. And I left it feeling kind of, I guess, dissatisfied. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest with you, but I realized that moms just, okay, and I'm just going to say from my experience, now I shouldn't make it such a general statement, but I like my OB. I do like her. I like her a lot. But, I had the 6 week visit and it was just like, okay, you're all done and that's it. But, you know, it's weird because there's not enough like assistance for moms, like whether you're dealing with postpartum depression or something called postpartum anxiety, which is very rarely talked about. Like there's not a lot of assistance. And you end up having to figure things out on your own. And everyone thinks, especially if you're a first time mom, but even if you're not, but I can only speak from a first time mom's perspective, that you go home and everything's going to just kick in. Like breastfeeding is just going to be, this thing that happens naturally, and you're naturally going to have all your instincts of how to deal with a baby that's screaming, how to comfort a baby, colic, and all those other things that come up inevitably. I just assume you're going to have these instincts, how to deal with your body and your body image. And that was the easiest part for me because I was very fortunate to have my body return to normal ish fairly quickly. But mentally and emotionally, I've gone through a lot of changes and have felt, a lot of different ways from, oh my God, what did I do? I need to go back to work, to missing my old life prior to having the baby. Um, just being not carefree. I have responsibilities, but having a child is like the ultimate responsibility, right? And I was feeling like, oh my God, this is so much, so much responsibility. And it is the ultimate. You're raising another human being to hopefully be productive and make a, you know, make some type of uh, impression in society. So yeah, it's a huge responsibility, and just a lot of different emotions that I've been going through. I've felt a lot of anxiety. I just pinpointed like the other day that it was anxiety. I was feeling just like a worry or an uneasiness, a nervousness in my tummy, kind of like, nerves and anxiety. And I'm just like, why am I always anxious? And I was feeling this anxiety about everything, not just the baby, but about everything. Things that I shouldn't even have anxiety about. Like going to my postpartum visit. I mean, there may have been a little anxiety because I had the blood pressure issue, but my blood pressure has been stable since I've been on the medication. And so, why do I have this anxiety? And then I started to Google it, and there's something called postpartum anxiety that people don't even really talk about, and it's related to postpartum depression. And it is possible to actually have both um, postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. And so I'm like, okay, is that what I have? I don't know. But I'm feeling anxiety about everything. Too many things. Just anything you can name, doing mundane things was starting to give me anxiety. Not to the point that I couldn't do them, but I just felt this feeling. And, everyone expects that you're just going to go home and be happy. And now, of course, you are happy. You have your baby, but there's just a lot of pressure when you're a mom. And like I said, no one can really explain it to you. You really just you have to go through it. No one can explain. And like I said, with breastfeeding, sorry, just checking on the dogs. By the way, my dogs have been completely neglected these past 6 weeks. Like I can't really give them the attention that they usually would get. So I feel bad about that, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so I went to my postpartum visit and everything was fine. Like I'm healed. I had a few stitches. I had some very minor tearing. These glasses are going to drive me crazy. I don't know why they're sliding down so much right now. But anyway, I had some very minor tearing. It was all healed. My blood pressure was fine, even though I am still taking the blood pressure medications, but they would not refill the prescription. So they said if I want to continue on the medication, I need to go see my internal medicine or primary or whatever you want to call it. And I kind of felt a little abandoned. I'm not going to lie. I think that's how I felt. Like it was just like, okay, you're not pregnant anymore. You're not in a postpartum stage, that initial postpartum stage anymore. So we're kind of done with you. And that was extremely, I don't know. I felt a little saddened by that because it was just like, okay, I'm on my own. There's lots of checks on the baby and what needs to be done for the baby, but there wasn't any real checks on, me during this postpartum time other than, me having to go for my blood pressure. But what about my overall well-being? So in the U.S., society is on us as moms to really take care of ourselves and to figure out, mentally and emotionally. And I mean, there's more help physically, but mentally and emotionally, what's going on in other countries, they have systems set up to help moms recover during this period, and not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. I'm so sorry. Sneezing. Sorry. But the US doesn't have those things, so it is kind of disappointing. And I think to myself, I'm like, wow, I just, do I go to a therapist to talk about some of this anxiety? Is it just hormones? Will it pass? Is this normal? Why am I not like floating on cloud nine all the time? Maybe because you're sleep deprived and, my baby actually sleeps through the night. Michaela sleeps through the night. Michaela has been sleeping through the night since she was like 3 weeks, even though she wasn't supposed to be sleeping through the night 3 weeks. But at her 4 week or 1 month visit, her doctor said that because she was gaining weight, she could sleep through the night. I did not have to wake her up anymore to do feedings in the middle of the night. And I have not, and she sleeps through the night. But I pump, so I still have to get up in the middle of the night to pump. So whether she sleeps through the night or not, I still have to get up to pump. And then, of course, sometimes, like 9 times out of 10, she sleeps through the night. But then, every once in a while, when I get up to pump, she'll wake up as well. So, I'm dealing with her and I'm not pumping. So, in pumping, no one prepares you for how much of a pain in the butt that is and how much of a cow you feel like. And if you're not producing the amount of milk that you feel you want to produce. And you watch on these videos and some women are like, I produce, 200 ounces of milk a day. And you're like, well, I barely get to 20 ounces. So yeah. And if your baby's drinking between, 20 to 30 ounces, you're kind of like, supplementing. And there's nothing wrong with supplementing, but with formula, but to some extent, I feel like I don't want her to have formula, and I feel like formula is synthetic, but it's fine. And I get into these two mindsets where I'm like, I don't want her to have formula at all. I want her to only get breast milk because it's the best and it has all those antibodies and it's the best thing in the world, right? And it's true, it is. And so I want her to have that, but at the same time, I don't keep up with her production. My production doesn't necessarily keep up with how much she eats every day. So, and she's a greedy girl. So, so I supplement, and sometimes I feel bad about it. And other times I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, there's millions of people out there supplementing. That's why Enfamil, Similac, Gerber, and all those other companies that make baby formula wouldn't make baby formula, so it's not the end of the world. She does get a lot of breast milk. The majority of her diet is breast milk. And I have gone to almost 2 weeks with her getting breast milk only, but then, she'll have a really hungry day or something, and then I just can't keep up with that, and I'll have to give her a little bit of formula. So yeah, that's how we've been working out so far. And, but then I just feel bad about it sometimes because formula is cow-based, milk-based, and, so it's just all these different thoughts that could go through your head. These are just things that go through mine, and then I wonder, am I depressed? I have anxiety. How do we work through this? Why am I nervous or worried about things so much? But again, it's on me to seek out. So I did mention this to my OB, and she kind of just said, I'd recommend you see a therapist. So now I have to go try to see a therapist if I want to, have someone to talk to about those things. And I'm just like, I don't know, you kind of just get a pat on the back, like, good job, mom, and they kind of keep it going, or at least that's how I thought my experience was. And like I said, I like my OB, and I think she's better than a lot of them, but I don't know, I think I have to get these readjusted. I've been kind of falling asleep in them, and we fall asleep in your glasses. Sometimes it stretches them out. I've been so exhausted that sometimes, like, when I'm pumping or doing something, I've like literally fallen off to sleep. So a lot more than normal, I fall asleep in my glasses. And that tends to like stretch them out more. So whatever. So anyway, so it stretches them out of shape, so they keep sliding. I'm gonna have to get them adjusted, but you didn't come here for that. But yeah, so it's just like, I don't know. I just felt like that last visit just left me, I don't know what I was expecting. Again, I've never done any of this before, but it just left me a little whatever. We talked about birth control options. We talked about the pill and the IUD because I've had both in the past. I would like to get an IUD because they're easy. There's nothing to think about. But I have to make a separate appointment and go back for the IUD. In the meantime, I do have a birth control pill, which I believe is progesterone only, so that it doesn't affect my milk supply, which is what I was told. It does not affect milk supply for breastfeeding moms. And, if I come back for the IUD, I would probably get a Mirena, which lasts for 5 years. I previously, before getting pregnant, had the Mirena. Now they have some others out, but the other ones are like smaller and for women who haven't had kids and last for like maybe 3 years or something. But I have now had a kid, so I'll go back to the Mirena. And the Mirena, it's not large, but it definitely, I'm telling you, when I got the IUD inserted the first time, having never had a baby, it was super painful. Not the insertion. The insertion was probably a little painful as well, but the afterwards, like when your uterus is adjusting to having this foreign object in it, it was just so crampy and painful. I remember that. So maybe now that I've actually had a baby, it won't be as painful. I don't know. But which birth control I choose is basically going to be based on whether I plan to have more kids in the next few years. But you can get an IUD and take it out in 6 months, or 6 weeks or 6 days, So even though it lasts for 5 years, it doesn't mean you have to keep it for 5 years. The only reason you might, if your insurance doesn't cover it, I know they gave me a price list of how much the Mirena costs if my insurance doesn't cover it, which it does, but the Mirena would be like $2,300. So if you have to pay $2,300 for something, then yeah, you might want to keep it in for the entire time. But if your insurance covers it, you can pull that thing out anytime you want to and go back to it later, actually. So whether I want to have more kids is still up in the air. Most days I lean towards yes, just so Michaela will have someone. But there are definitely days where I'm like, why would I be crazy enough to ever do this nonsense again in my life? So it remains to be seen. But yeah, so we talked about that. We talked about my blood pressure. I was okay, but they're no longer going to monitor my blood pressure, right? Because I'm not pregnant or anything. She said my primary care physician will probably have some other medication that she would want me to be on. And I haven't been to my primary care physician since in a couple of months. I've been there during the pregnancy, but it's been a couple of months, so I'd have to talk, get back with her and talk to her about some of this stuff. She did the exam. She told me to get a therapist if I feel I need to talk to somebody. She said get some help at home, maybe have someone come in to either clean the kitchen or cook, or if even help for the baby for a few hours. Told me I should look at care.com as a good starting place for some of that. And that was it. That was really it. That was where we left it. And then she said, if you want the IUD, make another appointment and I can put it in. If not, I'll see you in 6 months so you can get another pap smear and we get back on track for that type stuff, the normal annual exam. So, yeah, that was the visit. It was a little whatever. I don't know what I was expecting. I just feel like I needed someone to be there for me, and since she's my doctor, I thought maybe she would, but that's not really her job. So I don't know what I was expecting. I just think there should be more resources or more help after you have a baby, instead of you having, in addition to having these newborns, to have to try to seek out and find something else. It's kind of like they check everything with the baby. They check the baby's hearing, the baby's latch, or all these other things. And they send you home stitched up, bleeding, and, and just say, hey, you're mom now, go figure it out. So I'm trying to figure it out. But that's where I am. But listen, overall, I think Michaela's amazing, so don't get me wrong. I love her to death, and I think she's amazing. But that doesn't take away all the other stuff I'm saying. But I definitely want to do another video and talk more about what's going on with me breastfeeding, update you on that, and, you know, anything else that's really been going on. I can't believe it's been 6 weeks already. I really cannot believe that this baby is 6 weeks old. She is growing up so quickly and is beautiful, but also bittersweet. I take pictures of her every day. I have hundreds of pictures of her already. And, you know, she changes a little bit every day. And it's just so amazing to see her grow up and how alert and things she is now. And, you know, I just can't wait until she recognizes or knows who I am. That would be great, because I don't really know if she knows right now. But, you know, they say she probably recognizes my voice, but I don't know. She is definitely strong-willed, and she knows what she wants, and she knows how to ball up her little fists and swing them. So there is that too. She gets angry. Somehow she knows to make a fist, and she starts flailing and jabbing. So I don't know who taught her that, but instinct, I guess. But anyway, ladies, I will be back soon. Like I said, congrats to all my ladies out there who just had their babies. You know, I keep you in my prayers, and if you ever need to chat or just vent or anything, you know, I'm here. So I'll talk to you soon.